everybody? Welcome to another episode of Buggy Reviews. Today's episode, we're going to be looking at a very unique movie, The Joker. Now, it was kind of an interesting movie to say the least, even before it got released. Like, when I heard about it being one of the movies that Warner Brothers was going to state out, I, like a lot of other people, have kind of written it off, because it's the mere sound of it, you weren't really interested, right? This whole movie that wasn't interconnected with the main DC universe, that it wasn't going to fit in with the timeline, or anything like that, you know, it seemed like there was going to be just this one-off thing. It just didn't quite make much sense. And then again, a lot of actions that Warner Brothers has taken over the years with the DC license hasn't quite made a lot of sense. I mean, look at today. I mean, we thought we were gonna get Ben Affleck fighting Deathstroke in the Batman movie, and now we got Robert Pattinson in line to play it. But you know, that's just how that goes. The thing about it is, like, this is one of the only movies that made it through the cut, you know, because the other ones are Wonder Woman 1884, which is going to be coming out, I think, in a couple months, or sometime next year, I believe. Same thing with the Harley Quinn Birds of Prey movie, you know. Like, that's just kind of it. These were the three that made it through the cut, you know. Like, because there were so many movies that were, like, being planned out. Like, there was talk of Deathstroke, Batgirl, Nightwing, all of them getting movies, you know. And, like, you know, of course, like, Cyborg was supposed to get a movie. The Flash, I don't even know if he's even still getting a movie, because it just becomes a reoccurring theme. But yeah, Joker managed to not only get through the cut, but had been able to make it through on this woke-esque era that we just kind of find ourselves in. With a lot of people trying to be wondering if the Joker would inspire people to do these horrific acts of violence just because they see the movie. That whole trope of violent movies and violent video games causes you to become violent itself. A thing that's been proven to be hilariously false to a degree. And, you know, and that's just kind of how it is. And it kind of started getting this, like, newfound little bit of traction, just because it's like, at this stage, a lot of us are just kind of tired about it. I'm tired about this wokeness, this SJW bullshit, this intense need to be political correct or diverse or something. You know, it's like we're tired of that being placed in the sacrifice of good storytelling. And the Joker movie is a perfect example. It is a great work of storytelling. Okay, it's simple. It's the story of how a man could turn into the Joker. You know, it says in its, like, little official thing, a character study into Arthur Fleck, who is, you know, in this movie is the Joker's quote-unquote real name. But, you know, but yeah, like, it's just kind of how it goes. And I watching this movie, you know, one thing that had occurred to me a lot was the concept of the one bad day. Something that had been brought up in The Killing Joke, where Joker kind of puts on that all it takes is just one bad day before you wind up like me, basically. Now, in this case, it does work, but when you apply it, it's only the straw that breaks the camel's back. It's the final match that lights the fuse, you know? Because in this movie, Joker is not there all the way. He's damaged. He's broken. He has this actual legitimate condition that causes him to laugh uncontrollably. A real life actual condition, you know, that causes him to laugh uncontrollably, like, no matter what feeling he is. And it speaks to Joaquin Phoenix's, like, skills of an actor, because you can tell that he shows this, like, intense emotion of, like, even as he's laughing, he's not in control of it. Like, he could be sad or depressed or something like that while he's laughing. And the movie is, like, it's basically Joker embracing that dark, damaged side of himself as the story develops and as things happen to him, just because Gotham is such a fucked up place. And that's another thing too. Gotham in this movie is pretty fucked. Like, I know that's kind of been a theme, and I know that other movies have tried to do it, and that there's some that are just trying to play it off as like a normal city. But Gotham is kind of like notorious for its like criminal element and just the way that it is. It's like the one ghetto place has like expanded out, and it's just a war zone half the time. You know, like you can't even walk down the street without getting jacked of your wallet or something like that. And it definitely works to make this place not somewhere you would want to visit or anything, you know? And so as Joker goes about his life, you know, with all these things happening, and like you start to see the very few thin layers that are keeping him from becoming the individual that we know as the Joker from coming out, you just kind of get this tension to it, you know? And I like that this movie doesn't try to pretend or make any thing about it that, like, Joker is a heroic character or anything like that. It knows what it's doing. It knows Joker is a bad person, and that the actions that he does are not good at all. It integrates so well, even into the music itself. There's nothing uplifting, exciting, or anything like that, you know, in the original music. The licensed music they can't control, but they place it in spots that just kind of would fit in with the Joker's, like, actions and themes. When they do their original scores, it all sounds like a horror movie in a sense, you know. And I had read in someone else's review that the Joker movie is like a horror character story, which I can agree with. In this movie, it's like a horror movie, you know. Whenever something happens, the tones of the music, like just the rise and the drop in the tempo, you know, it just basically sounds like a horror monster getting another victim, you know, or evolving into what he's going to become, you know. It's something in that vein, and it's terrifying. Like, there's nothing uplifting, there's nothing that makes you kind of like side with him too much on things. Like, you can kind of agree with some actions he's taken. Like, if like in one scene he kills some of these asshole characters, you know, that just picked on him out of nowhere. Like, you can agree with that. And then it's like he starts evolving and becoming more of the Joker that we know. And in the last 40 or so minutes, that's when he becomes the Joker. Like, this is when he starts acting like the Joker we know. This unpredictable individual. Like, I think that's kind of been the thing about the Joker. Like, he's unpredictable to a degree. You know, we see that he's going to do some of these actions, but we're never quite sure, because that's the thing. The Joker could just turn at the drop of a hat. Like, he could be just laughing at some joke he thought up, or he could be stabbing you in the throat repeatedly with a paper cut. That didn't make sense, but okay. But, yeah, like, it's something. Like, and Joaquin Phoenix's acting is just impressive all around to play this character. And even in the last 40 minutes, it's really something else. Like, I think that people are gonna enjoy this movie. It's not it's a quality over quantity type of movie. Like, not too many crazy things happen, I guess, but when they do happen, it's more impactful. It makes you feel the impact. It's a movie that makes you think. Like, I've seen the movie only one time, and I'm I really want to see it again, even though I won't see it until it comes out on like DVD or Blu-ray, But I want to see it again, because it's a movie that makes you want to watch it over and over to capture every little thing, every little small, slight little thing into the story that allows you to pick up on just even the subtle things that shows you the decline in Joker into becoming the person that he's going to be. And, and throughout, the movie's kind of like, the movie pretty much sticks to its, like, story. Like, it's just trying to tell this one story, front to end, and then that's about it. And maybe, at the end of it, they hint off something that could, like, potentially lead into, stuff for maybe a potential sequel, maybe, but there's been no talk of it, even though that Joaquin Phoenix has said that he isn't denying that there could be a chance. He doesn't mind it. He would actually like to. He even said that him and the director Todd Phillips would still be shooting, scenes for the movie if they could. So, in short, they could potentially make another movie on this. And I kind of would like them to, because this Joker was so interesting. It was a very incredibly faithful adaptation. It was a very accurate source to the character of the comic books. Now, it doesn't really... I don't have anything that, like, states whether or not this is comic book accurate to any existing Joker storylines that I know of. A lot of people will try to think this is something along the lines of Killing Joke to a degree, but it's kind of not. Like, it's not really familiar with that, like, origin. I mean, there's some themes you could probably pick out of, and there are certain aspects from certain storylines that are kind of, like, picked and kind of put in for a little bit. Like, even a scene kind of near the end represents a scene from Dark Knight Returns. And those that have seen the movie, they will know what I'm talking about there. But yeah, in terms of an actual storyline, it's not picking up anything like big and like just adapting it from there. It's kind of its own deal that has the elements of it there. And it's a movie that gets you thinking. And it's a movie that kind of makes you want to see more of it. Like, even though you are frightened by this character and that you're terrified of what he can do, you kind of have this morbid sense of you kind of want to see more. You want to see him go. You want to see him when he could eventually encounter Batman. You want to see this character go. You want to see this character more of. You want to see what else they can bring to the table with this new character and the tone that they can put in, because this is an R-rated movie and they make it count. Like, there's some cussing here and there, and then they have these intense scenes of, like, blood and all that, and it happens, and it makes it more impactful, almost realistic to a sense, and it makes you really want to see what else they could possibly do in a sequel, because the Joker has done so much in terms of horrific shit in the comic books. Killed Jason Todd, paralyzed Barbara Gordon, cut off his own, well, no, actually he did not cut off his own face, someone else did, and then he just basically stapled it back on, killed so many people, like, become one of the most iconic characters in DC comic books, and in just pop culture in general. So it's like the sky's the limit for what they could potentially do in this new corner of the DC universe. A lot of people have compared this to be something kind of like a Black Label. For those who are not in the know in the comic book world, the DC Black Label is a comic book line where they just give various creators, comic book writers, and whatnot, a pen. They just say, hey, look, you choose a character, you get to write whatever the hell you want to write. It's not connected to the main universe. It takes place in its entirely own separate thing. You do whatever the fuck you want. There's no rating to it. Just have fun, enjoy, and that's it. And I think I could believe them if they do this sideline of other DC movies that are kind of like in the corner, you know, making it be a multiverse of movies, multi-cinematic universe, or something like that. You know, it would be an interesting thing, and I want to see if they would produce a sequel. So, you know, that's how that goes. But yeah, that's kind of like my official thoughts on the Joker movie itself. So yeah, what do you guys think about it? Have you guys seen it yet? If not, are you going to plan on seeing it? Are you going to wait for the DVD? And also, what other movies or shows you want me to review? You know, I like to take some suggestions here and there. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I'd like to thank everybody for coming along and listening to me just babble and rant in this pretty basic ass review. I'll catch you all on the next video. Thank you all.